In today's episode, we're speaking to Justin Janowski, who has helped hundreds of coaches build their dream businesses from ground up. Driven by his faith, he founded Faith to Influence to help people learn what it takes to turn coaching into profitable business venture. Justin has helped Christian and non-Christian coaches alike through the rewarding process of optimizing business models, pricing, and sales strategies so they can scale their income alongside their impact. He has a passion for sharing this process with emerging entrepreneurs to help them simplify and grow their businesses the right way. Justin currently lives in Milwaukee with his beautiful wife, Cara, and their playful kiddos, Grace and Gavin. Let's speak to Justin and find out how he changed his life by changing his mindset. Let's find out. Oh, and remember, if you want to upgrade your money mindset, then click on the link and join my free community. See you inside the community. Welcome, welcome. This is Gull Khan, your money mindset expert. And today I'm so excited. We're speaking to the amazing Justin Janowski. Welcome, Justin.
Thanks for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, so I didn't butcher your name this time, which is great.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for joining us, Justin. Justin, everyone's heard your intro. They know how fabulous you are and how amazing you are. But please, in your own words, tell everybody what it is that you do.
I help coaches and entrepreneurs sell more, but I help them sell more with high integrity. What I know is that so many entrepreneurs, coaches, and leaders in the marketplace love giving their gift. They love serving people. They love coaching people, but they struggle with sales. And they think that they're not a good salesperson or that sales is scary or pushy or sleazy or manipulative. And so I teach them a really high converting sales process that's also really high integrity and feels good for the prospect and the coach, whether they buy or not.
Awesome. So talk us through your journey, Justin. How did you arrive here? How did you become coach of coaches? What was
Yeah.
the journey for you? Talk us through.
Well, when I was 18 years old, I started selling Cutco kitchen knives, which is a very expensive US made knife set. I would literally do in-home presentations and sit at the kitchen table with Mr. and Mrs. Jones and show them these knives and cut rope and cut pennies and all these different funny things and sell these expensive knife sets that were like $1,000 at the time. And they actually cost a lot more than that now. I did that for a few years. It's a goofy job. It's not for everyone. Very high turnover rate, but I sold a few $100,000 worth of those knives and realized I loved sales. I loved being an entrepreneur. I loved influence and speaking. And then I hired my first coach while I was there who helped me really with my personal development along with my professional development. I later got into financial planning. And then I hired my second coach. And at that point, realized, man, I really love the work that they do with me. I want to do that for others. And so I became part of their team and I was a lead salesperson for them for a few years and sold a couple $1 million worth of high ticket coaching packages for them. And then realized I wanted to start my own business and do it my way.
So how have you, when as a sales rep, I suppose you've always been used to earning on commission, but there is still a big transition from having at least a base income plus the commission, which would come in the sales rep role, compared to being a completely 100% commission based. And then obviously when you have your own business, there is no buffer zone at all. You're running the show yourself. Talk me through, how did you transition from that? And do you come from a family of entrepreneurs, or was it something that you had to learn on your own? Talk me through.
Yeah, my family have more traditional jobs. My mom is a salesperson at heart and had different sales jobs, but was never an entrepreneur. For me, it was luck. It was sheer luck. The day after I graduated high school, flipping through a newspaper, which I know people don't really do anymore, but I did, and I found a job wanted ad, and I called it, and I didn't know what it was exactly, and it happened to be that sales job, and I fell into that opportunity and realized it was what I loved. From an income standpoint, my previous job to starting Faith to Influence was a six-figure earning job. I had a six-figure base. Like I knew I was going to have a nice income. And my wife and I had just had our first baby, and she decided to leave her job to stay at home for the first year of Grace's life. And while she was doing that, it was my second day back to work after paternity leave that I realized, oh man, I felt like God was calling me to start this coaching business and to go out on my own. And I remember calling and telling her, and she bawled. She just cried, obviously a lot of emotions, new mom, a lot
Mm,
of security that my job was providing, and I like wanted to take all of that security away. And we took a month and thought about it and talked to people we respected and prayed and went through our process. And I made the decision to start Faith to Influence. It was really scary financially because I was
mm,
leaving all of our guaranteed income behind and trusting and believing that this could work. And we
mm,
had a little bit of a cushion, a little bit in savings, enough that I felt like if I could make 60 grand in my first year, that we could make it and stay in
mm.
business. And it went way better than I imagined. I ended up earning 250 grand in my first year. But during those first few months before I knew that was going to happen, I was tossing and turning. I was having a hard time falling asleep at night. I was excited and scared all at the same time about whether or not the money piece was going to work out. And then, of course, really grateful when it did.
Awesome. I think that money plays a major, major part with most people's life choices.
Mhm.
I know that with myself, money was a big factor, but I didn't let it dictate which direction I went in. I remember when I had to go back into employment, I had been off for because I took a break from work and conventional work as well, because I was in corporate. I took a break for a good number of years to look after my family. And when it was time for me to go back, because I was now a lone single parent of two, it was actually my kids which determined which angle I went in. It
Mm.
not wasn't necessarily money, and I thought, well, I have to make it work because I want to work around my kids, not go back into corporate world and never see my kids. So even though money is important, if you let money dictate your decisions, then you are kind of stuck where you are because you have this false security that where you are, it's safe. And, conventional job is a safer option. I remember my brother and my father both were really, really upset with me because I wasn't going to go back and wasn't going back into law, wasn't going to be a lawyer anymore. I chose to be an entrepreneur for whatever reason. And they couldn't
Mm.
understand. And up to that moment, I didn't have any successful endeavors. Like everything I tried had failed miserably. And so their idea of me as an entrepreneur was zero or sub-zero because I lost so much
Wow.
money. So carrying on and doing another entrepreneurial venture for myself was completely stupid. However, and this is what I would add, up until that point, any endeavors I had tried, the motivation was money.
Mhm.
Afterwards, it was to be able to provide for my kids around them on my terms,
Mhm.
not money. The motivation was completely different because before I was financially taken care of, so I just wanted to make more money. So that's the only idea. Now it was make sure my kids had food, make sure and I didn't go out to work. I worked around my kids, and I still do. I work around my kids. I think that's a big factor, and that's what I'm listening to hearing from you. That once your baby was born, it was all about the baby, and it was all about making sure that you made life choices around your family and what's best for your family, not necessarily what's best for money. Am
Yeah.
I correct?
Yeah, yeah. It felt like for every other reason, this was the right thing to do. And I felt compelled, I felt pulled to it. I did feel like I could create a lifestyle that I wanted
Mm,
for my family and opportunities for my family. And I wanted to follow my dream and do the thing that felt right and felt best to me. And I didn't want money to
mm,
stand away from that. I didn't know that I was going to earn more. I thought I would earn less. But that's the cool thing about being an entrepreneur is you do have the capacity to earn more as well. So that was just a nice surprise. But the decision was really around, yeah, what was best for my family? What was best for me? What was I feeling called to in my life?
awesome. So what lessons have you learned on your way? I mean, I knew it was scary, but you wanted to make 60, you ended up making 250. What lessons did you pick up on along that hard road? Because that I would say hard because it is. That's a roller coaster road when you're trying to build it. And the first year can be extremely scary when you're having the sleepless nights and there are bills to pay and you've got a young family and you have to think about them as well. What lessons would you say that really stand out for you now looking back in hindsight?
Yeah, for me, one of the first and most prevalent lessons was just surrendering to God, just like letting go, like not putting too much pressure on myself. I had to like surrender and let go of the fears or anxieties or concerns or the wonders of whether or not I was good enough, the self-judgment. I just had to like let go and surrender all of that and say, if this is what I'm meant to do, then I'm just gonna go do it. It's just gonna have to work. And I have to trust that and believe and just let go a little bit because I could get myself so wrapped up in my head and there was an ease to the word surrender for me early on. That was a very important lesson. And then, just recognizing that repetition is the key to mastery. If I
Mm,
wanted to be great at speaking, I mean, I remember when I was new, doing a Facebook Live felt terrifying. recording a video or a training by myself felt terrifying. Being a podcast guest would have just given me knots in my stomach at the beginning. And I did it anyways. And I did it and I did it and I did it. And eventually it gets easier and we get more comfortable and we get more confident. And I just know, like, if we just show up and keep taking the right actions over and over again through that repetition, we can achieve a level of mastery, and then we're going to get better results that follow it. And so those are two of the early ones that I really remember connecting with, was surrendering and letting go, and then knowing that repetition and the right action will produce a result over a period of time.
Something you said that really stuck out to me. It's not the people who achieve things don't it's not that they don't have fear about things. It's not that they're not afraid of doing certain things. It's the ability to have the fear, but have the courage to do it anyway. I think that's what's important. And it's funny actually, when something that I get told very often is, oh, you're a very good public speaker. And I remember I was speaking to someone on the shop and like, gosh, you're such a good speaker, you should be on TV. I just laughed. I thought I did. I'm like, I've got a podcast, but then never mind. But I remember when I first did my Facebook Live back in 2017, I think it was. And it was exactly the same. I was fumbling over things and I was worried. I mean, I never fumbled my words anyway, because I think my low background. But I felt I was fumbling over myself and my words, and I wasn't as confident. And I thought people were going to judge me, and they're going to think I'm fat or I'm this or I'm that. And, all those things that you think about yourself, which at that time, I put makeup on now. I didn't even put makeup. I'm like, I go in like this. But I remember trying to present myself and being concerned about my clothing, my accent, my appearance. You judge yourself so harshly at the beginning. And as you get into the flow of it, you realize people really don't care. And people are more concerned with what value you bring to the table in whatever mode, either through a podcast or through an interview or through your training or through your teaching. It's the value you bring, not necessarily the packaging. The packaging is important too, I suppose, to a certain extent. And I don't take that lightly, but it's not the primary concern. And as long as you're reasonably presentable, you don't have to wear the Gucci watch or whatever. No one's really interested in that. It's more being presentable and being able to show your value to people. Like I don't resonate with people who swear a lot. So when people swear a lot, it turns me off. So that's presentation. But I'm still interested in the content. So if they have good content, I'll still listen to them. But it's just, I find it very distracting when they're swearing constantly. And some very well-known people do that. And I purposely can't follow them because of that reason. But the value they still bring is amazing. So I'll probably listen to the written content instead. So I'll change the mode on which I consume their content, but the value still remains the same. The value is still there. And it's understanding that point. It's the people are more interested in the value you bring to them and the value you bring to them, not the value you think you bring. It's that understanding as well, because it's all about them, not about you.
Right. Yeah. I mean, my first coach, Hal Elrod, used to say, give up the need to be perfect for the opportunity to be authentic. We need to let go of this like perfectionist and like beating ourselves up over every little thing. Every one of us, if you're like in the coaching, leadership, speaking kind of space, entrepreneurship space, you've got a tribe of people who will love you because of how you speak, because of how you look, because of the way you present yourself, your style, and the things that are different about you, the nuance. That's what's going to attract your tribe. And for so many coaches and entrepreneurs and speakers, it's not like you need billions of people to like you and like the way you sound or look or all these different things or think you're perfect. You just need probably, in some cases, a dozen clients or a few dozen clients or maybe a few hundred clients. For most people, if they were to achieve those kinds of numbers, they'd be wildly successful and achieve all of their key dreams. And so remembering that we do not need to appeal to everyone, we just need to attract our tribe, can take some of the pressure off too.
100%. And I was thinking that, in the beginning, one of my biggest concern was I speak really, really fast. And I have, I think, slow down a little bit, I suppose. But still, even now, when I get really excited and I'm really like, oh my God, do you know this? Even when I'm recording a podcast and I get really, really passionate about a topic or something, I speed up. I go from 0 to 100, like literally over in a few seconds. And I have to consciously slow myself down because that's who I am. And it's funny that you said that, because the people I attract, before initially, I was like, oh, people are going to think I talk too fast, they won't understand what I'm saying. However, now a lot of people say, well, they actually like that they listen to me because I talk fast, because I'm able to get to the point across. Because a lot of the times they have to speed up the other people because they're too slow for them. I know I do. When I listen to audiobooks, whatever, I cannot for the life of me listen at normal speed. It's usually a minimum of 1.5, and sometimes as much as 2x, because the speaker is far too slow for me. And I attract those kind of people as well. So it's, if someone speaks very slowly and wants to understand every word, I'm not that person. I'm going to rattle off 100 miles per hour. You have to follow it, but the content there would be amazing if you can follow. And but I've accepted that about myself, that I'm never going to be a slow speaker. I'm going to be a passionate, animated, and a fast speaker. So people have to keep up, or find someone else. And it's accepting those so-called flaws in yourself. Because when I looked at myself even when I was a speaker, when people tell me I'm a great speaker, I think, really? Okay. You haven't heard me speak recently, have you? It's automatic, because I'm already thinking of 10 things that are wrong with my, my speech or my mannerism. But people don't see that. People see you. Whereas you see yourself and you judge yourself from this, magnified, exaggerated version of yourself. And you still do that all the time. You wouldn't do that to anybody else, but you do it to yourself. So the self-criticism is awful. So how do you get rid of that? And that's even more prevalent in the coaching space, because imposter syndrome comes to bite your backside more often here than anywhere else. So how do you deal with that?
It's so good. And one of the things that we teach is connectivity, like being connected to your audience and your tribe. And connection is about a likeness, right? So you notice that people who speak fast or like to listen fast, they like that you speak fast, because they're like, oh wow, Gull's my kind of person, because she gets to the point. She's in a hurry. She's not like wasting my time. It's chock full of energy and wisdom, and it's all happening fast. And that's how a lot of people want it. And so if you recognize that, like, that's going to connect you to your ideal audience, perfect. And then I've got a client in Louisiana, a small like southern town in Wisconsin. Actually, not Wisconsin. I'm in Wisconsin, in the United States. And where Albert lives, he culturally, like, people take their time. They're not in a rush. They're not going to talk fast. Culturally around him, people are going to take their time and talk slowly. They're going to tell extra stories. They're going to illustrate every point with a story. They're not going to be in a rush to get there. And so when Albert's talking to people in his area, they want the story. And so if I'm talking to someone like you, I might go a little bit faster. I might go to the point a little bit faster. I might connect that way with you. And if I'm with Albert, I might tell an extra story or two. I might slow down my pace a little bit. And so we can recognize that, like, all of us have range in our voices and a capacity to, like, raise our volume, to lower our volume, to speed up a little bit, to slow down a little bit, to soften our tone, to challenge with our tone when appropriate. And so there's all kinds of opportunities that we have with the variability of our voice. And it's fun to learn and play with that and see how we can connect with our audience, but also find our authentic leadership voice. And to me, like, that is finding what's your authentic leadership pace, your authentic volume, your authentic tone and energy and emotion and the way you communicate. And my authentic leadership voice is going to sound different from yours, going to sound different than Albert's, and all of us can be exceptional leaders. And so I think, again, it comes back to what I shared before about repetition being the key to mastery. If you want to get to a place of accepting yourself more, if I want to get to a place of accepting myself more, Albert wants to do the same. What do we need to do? We need to put ourselves in the game over and over and over and over again. I judged myself so much early on. And now I've learned to let it go, because I've had enough opportunities to accept myself. I've received enough feedback from my audience that they appreciate my authentic leadership voice, the way I show up. And so all of that can help. And I think that, again, it's just about doing it scared. Remember that done is better than perfect. Something out there, allowing yourself to be B plus. I accept B plus. When I record my podcast, I click play, I talk, I make mistakes, I fumble, I laugh, I keep going, and I click end. I don't even edit it. I'm willing to be B plus, because I know if I hold myself to an A plus standard, I'm not going to put the work out. And so that has helped me over time, just be a little bit more easy with myself.
It's funny you say that. My podcast is very similar. I mean, we do get it edited, but these are minor edits. So, they're very little in comparison to what's normally done by other people. Excuse me. So, because the way we have it, if you are authentic on the podcast, if you make a mistake, you fumble over the words, or you make a, you do something, unless it's drastic like this noise or something happens, or technology breaks down, which is usually the case with Zoom, isn't it? then we get those small things edited. And same thing for both for the YouTube as well as for our podcast. We just let it go naturally flow, and it's we put everything together and show our true authentic self, warts and alls. We are who we are, and not be ashamed of it. I think that confidence comes with time, and it comes with accepting who you are, and it's certain element of a certain amount of validation from other people is also required, and that comes with as you go through your coaching business or your other businesses, and over time your successes, even small ones, begin to validate who you are, your achievements, you're on the right path, and then it's a cycle. You become to accept yourself more, and then you get more success, and so forth and so forth. But initially you have to believe in yourself. And I remember my mother used to say this to me when I was younger, and I learned this so much in personal development ever since. You have to believe in you before anybody else does. You have to believe in you, before any of the magic can happen. And sometimes you have to believe in you without even evidence of it. I believed I was an A-grade student before it even happened. And I'm dyslexic, so I couldn't even read a full sentence until I was about 11, 12 years old. So I was in high school by the time I was able to read a full sentence. Yet I thought I was the smartest person on the class. I wasn't. I just chose to believe it. And guess what happened? I ended up becoming not just the smartest person in my class, in my college, in my university too. I was one of the top students there too. Why? Because I believed in it. But I had to believe in it first. I mean, that's just one example. But then obviously in business as well. And even now, it doesn't matter which new venture you go into, you'll have self-doubt, and there'll be other people doubting you. So now I talk about my new venture, which I've gone into, and it's manufacturing. And funnily enough, in my company, I'm the only woman there. And it's funny how it's my staff don't doubt me. The people working with me don't. It's just the people who I had as the management at the end, I've realized they've given me notice and they're leaving because they didn't believe in my leadership. The shop floor, everybody else does, is those two people don't. And I have to say I was very disappointed when they did, because it's quite striking when you have fears about yourself and then somebody says that to your face, that you don't have the ability to do this and this is why I'm leaving. One of them not so much, but the other one really pretty much said that to my face, literally. And I was I was gobsmacked. I was thinking, what? Okay, someone to say that to me. And all that did was made me smile, because up until that point, if I had any doubts in my mind, if I had any kind of inclination, can I do this, can I not do this, all went out the window. Because as soon as that person said those doubts to me, verbalized them, I realized, you're underestimating me. You think I can't do this. Ooh, this means 110% I can do this. I'm going to do it. I'm going to rock this. I'm going to rock this company. Inshallah, I'm going to take it to things you can't even imagine to. So dude, thank you. Bye-bye, go. Let me see where I take it. And I know in my heart of heart, I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I know for a fact that knowing has come before in multiple times when I've done this in my life. It's that when I have those, the quantum leaps and the breakthroughs, that's when I have that belief and I have that in my heart. But that was given to me when someone doubted me so much, and to the point where it could have really shattered all my confidence, because I'm not an engineer by trade. I'm a lawyer. I'm a woman. In a company with about 25 people. I'm the only female. It helps that I'm the boss, but still, it was interesting. And I say this with all humility. When someone doubts you, you need to build so much confidence in yourself that, like you have. As soon as someone verbalizes their doubts to you, you should go the other way and say, great, fantastic. That means I can prove myself and I can do great and I am going to do well. And you can just work on that. There is no doubt in my mind I'm going to do fabulously well with this company. And I would have had more doubts if he didn't say this to me. So what would you say that, that I've developed that, but I've developed it throughout my hardships through my life. How does someone develop that kind of confidence? I know how I did it, but how would somebody else do it? Because I think that's essential to succeed in life, in any area. It could be any new venture.
Yeah. We teach content around what's called the art of influence. Okay. And, there's an internal and an external art of like how we influence, coach, lead, sell, etc. And in the internal art of influence, the first piece of it is your identity, how you see yourself. And what we talk about is that greatly affects the results you get. If you see yourself in a high light, you're going to have more success. You're going to expect more from yourself. You're going to perform. If you have a tremendous amount of self-doubt and really negative self-talk, it's going to be harder for you to perform. It's going to get in your way. Now, many people have their identity in progress. You know, it's a challenge. It's an everyday battle to a certain degree. And it's probably because of old stories that somebody told us when we
Yeah.
were little. Our parents or our grandparents or our neighbor or our teacher, somebody who did doubt us and maybe pressed some people down. But what I want people to know is like all you need is that mustard seed of faith. You just need a little bit of belief in yourself, and that can spring into something else. It can grow and blossom into something much better than that. And I think there's three ways to really develop your identity to a place where you believe in yourself enough for other people to believe in you and have confidence in you. And for me, like when I'm in sales selling coaching for myself, if I'm not confident, who's going to buy it, right? So
Exactly. Yeah.
if you're a coach, that kind of like service-based entrepreneur, if you don't seem like you believe in it, it's going to be hard for people to believe and want to buy. So your confidence is really contagious and important. But three ways I know to develop your identity. One, you kind of referenced already, but it's having like a positive self-talk, and it's having like affirmations. You told yourself growing up, I'm the smartest in the class. I'm the smartest in the class. I'm the smartest in the class.
Yeah.
And what happened, even when you told yourself that when you weren't, you became the smartest in the class because of
Yeah.
what you told yourself. That story, that soundtrack that you placed on in your head over and over and over, that just was on repeat. And so we can do this by writing empowering I am statements. I am a great coach. I am a great leader. I'm a generous salesperson. I'm a loving salesperson. I'm a great dad. I'm a great mom. I'm a great husband. I'm a great wife. All of these things, we might need to write that and speak it and read it and remind ourselves over and over to put a new soundtrack on. And if this is hard for you, you're the person who needs to do it the most. Not you. I'm talking to the
I know.
audience.
I know.
Of course. And then the second piece here is that we want to surround ourselves with encouraging people. And so I know some people are really motivated by the person who speaks doubt. And I love that as you share that story. I think a lot of people resonate with that. But I think it's easier to stand in the face of doubt and be challenged by that and receive the challenge and be better because of it if you've got a corner of people surround you who encourage you and speak life into your dreams
100%.
and see the very best of who you are and the very best of who you can be. And so if somebody's feeling like really down on their identity, and like the discouragement doesn't fire them up and it like depresses them really low instead, then that's a person who really wants to be thoughtful about their environment. Really, we all should surround ourselves with people who will speak life, who believe in us and encourage us. And we need to be those people for others as well and return that favor, see people for the very best of who they can be. And then the third piece for me in my value set is just to pray, to bring it to God. And for other people, that might not be for them. If that's not for them, sit in meditation, like take some deep breaths, just like allow yourself to like clear out some of the junk and clear out some of the space. Yoga can do this for some people.
Yeah.
But some kind of, I think, spiritual practice can be helpful for me is prayer. God, help me to develop my identity. Help me to see myself the way you see me, the best of who I can be. And you can have that similar kind of dialogue and process through meditation or something else as well.
I love that. I think the last one really resonates with me because I would say some people in my corner who really encourage me, and they said, you can do anything, Gull. You can do anything. You've done everything, so you can do everything. And they really believe in me. And I've got some very, very good friends like that. They're the cousin stroke friends. But I think the most important factor for me from the three that you mentioned was God. Every time I have doubt in myself, I go to, because I'm Muslim and I'm practicing Muslim, and I would pray. I do a lot of prayers, so that they know the 5 daily prayers. I don't do 5 because I'm normally busy, but I try to make them up. So I end up doing 3 and doing all of them together in those. But every time I pray to God to help me. So I pray in the way that by myself. And I think this helps to keep your ego in check too. You never become egotistical. You never become arrogant. You always remain humble. So one of the things that I like about myself is I don't let my ego get in the way. So I could have had this conversation go really sour and become very uncomfortable. I decided to sidestep it and see, okay, how can we work together for the next time until you need to leave, and make the best use of your time for the company. And then when you say bye-bye, we never see each other again. I don't have to see you again, which is perfectly fine. But if you go to God with that humility, like, God, myself, I have no idea how I'm going to do this, but with your strength, with your help, anything is possible because you can do anything. I can't do everything. You can do everything. So I'm limited, you're not. And I go to God with that mindset. So I know that may not be possible for some people, but I talk about it. You can do it from, if you're not religious, do it to the universe. The universe is there. The universe is at your back. you use the term universe. I don't care what term they use, God, universe. I'd say Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you can say Buddha, you can say whatever deity you're praying to, connecting with. It's a divine energy. And you go with it because you're so small, but that universal divine energy is huge and is all encompassing. So as long as you have that on your side, everything's possible. And there's a way out of place that you can't think, imagine possible. And that's where faith comes in. So the faith is not necessarily in your ability. It's you knowing that universal energy or God will help you, guide you through, would give you the strength required to overcome whatever obstacle you have. So that keeps that faith strong. But at the same time, it stops you from being arrogant, like, oh, I'm just so amazing, I'm going to get this, I'm so brilliant. Because no one's brilliant. Everyone has to learn all the time. And the humility keeps you in check because you constantly go back to God. God, help me, I'm become so, like, I don't know where to go, give me direction. And meditation helps with that because that's when God's speaking to you. You know, when you get your intuition coming, working with you, you have to connect with some higher source to get inspiration. Because I think without intuition, you can't do anything. You just can't. You move forward, life becomes so hard. But if you have God or, universal energy through meditation, that intuition helps with the guidance, and that guidance can take you quantum leap forward.
Yeah, because as humans, we're all flawed, we're all weak, in certain ways.
Absolutely,
Right?
exactly.
So,
yeah.
We can't do it by ourselves. I remember, like, and for me, I'm a Christian. It's cool that we're having, like, we pray in a similar way. Like the words you use in your prayer, like, very similar to how I might pray. But I just remember that the night before my first event I was leading, feeling so scared and, like, almost to tears, wondering if I could do this, and just having to, like, that surrender again and let go and say, God, maybe I can't do this, but you can do anything.
Yeah.
Do this through me. And it's a powerful opportunity. And the other interesting thing is, like, when we're praying, not only, like, is it connecting us to God, but it also has the effect of, like, if you're speaking out loud, especially, it's an affirmation. Like, you're speaking the words of what you want. And we all know this, that, like, if you write down what you want, if you talk about what you want, you think about what you want, you're more likely to attain it. One of my coaches used to say, if you got in one hand what you want and in the other hand what you don't want, if you look at what you don't want all the time, you can't even see what you want. You can only see one or the other. And so he would remind us to look at what you want. And so that can be the form of a prayer too. It's like focusing on what you do want, on what you are moving towards, and speaking life into it even as you pray. It has a psychological effect on your brain and the results and the actions and behaviors and everything else that's going to come after that.
And it has, I always find, when I break down in front of God, or when I do my prayers, and we have a way, which by the way is grounding. So we put, with Muslims, we prostrate our head on the ground, and scientifically that's really, really powerful because you ground yourself very well then. I find when I'm in that position, praying to God and, acknowledging my weakness, when I get up, and I usually end up in being tears and being very, emotional. When I ended that and I've got up, I just have this rush of confidence in myself. Like, you know what? It's like, halas, I've given all my worries to God. I've given the burden away. I can walk away light. It's like someone's taken all this pain off, and I can walk away because I know I've done my prayer. God will find a way. And I have this innate confidence, I'm going to find a way. And today is another example. Today, exactly what happened. I got up this morning and I had this business dilemma. I was really, really stuck. And I was thinking, what the hell do I do? So I prayed. I got up about 5:30 in the morning, prayed the Hajj, which is midnight prayer, which is a bit late at the moment. Then I read the Fajr prayer. And between the two, I was constantly thinking, okay, tell me, guide me. I have no idea. You show me a path. And I kid you not, within a space of 4 to 5 hours, way was made forward in a very logical way, because the thing is, God's very logical, sends a very logical, way out. I've got a very logical way out of that situation without any additional, headache. It was just, I was like, I can't deal with it, you deal with it. And the way was given to me within a few hours. And I'm going to bed tonight thinking, thank you, that problem has already been solved. And it was a major, major problem because I was thinking, how am I going to balance these two things? Like it was a problem I just could not see a way out. Within a few hours, I got a solution. And that's my example of a miracle, for my miracle today that God gave me. But I gave that burden away and I walked away with confidence, I'm going to have a solution. I didn't know when, and I got it. And I think having that faith in God or universal energy helps you to have the courage to face the problems you have got. And then you can do it. So if you want to do it spiritually, say, oh, God gave you the reason. If you do it logically or psychologically, well, your subconscious mind goes, oh, I have to find a solution now. She's not giving me a way out. She has telling me I need to find a way. And it gives you a solution.
Yeah. Yeah. I've experienced that same thing, that same sensation. And all of a sudden, unexpected gifts, unexpected solutions, doors open, opportunities show up, and it's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, wonderful. Okay, so now we're going to wrap this up. So, are there any parting comments from you about somebody who's thinking about going down the entrepreneurial route, but he's thinking, not really sure this is the time for me, and is using money as an excuse to not take the plunge?
Mm. Well, it's interesting. For some, you should start your business as a side hustle,
I
and it
agree.
should be additional income to what you're already making. It's a safer path. You can begin to investigate. You can spend a few hours here or there and get started. For me, that wouldn't have necessarily worked for my personality type. Like I needed to quit the other job and go all in. That's not the smartest thing for most people. If you've got a little bit of runway, that created leverage and like the right amount of fear for me to like call me into massive action, but it didn't debilitate me. Like if that kind of decision would debilitate you, if it'd be like way too scary, then don't do it. Like start building on the side, start investigating, find some mentors, listen to podcasts like this, and start to find your way forward and investigate and see if it's for you. My path isn't for everybody, the all in, but for some, like financially, like that would actually be the thing that would cause you to move into action and get the best results. For most, starting as a side hustle is pretty safe.
Fantastic. So tell us, Justin, where can we find you on the internet? How can we connect with you?
Yes. I mean, you can find me on social media, just my name, Justin Janowski. You can also get a copy of our 10-step PDF. It's how we do sales in a high integrity way. So if there are entrepreneurs who are like, man, I really want to get better at sales, you can go to goodsalespdf.com and get a free copy of our 10-step sales process.
Awesome. So if you are listening to us on a podcast, the links that Justin just mentioned will be on the show notes. And if you're watching us on YouTube, then down below in the description section, we'll have the links for Justin to go check him out and see how he can help you build your business and help you with your sales. Well, thank you so much for today, Justin. It's been a fabulous conversation. I really enjoyed talking to you. I think we definitely need to continue this conversation on Money Talkies. But for today, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Gull. It was fun.
And thank you for listening to me and Justin today on Friday Feature. I will be back with another amazing guest, finding out how they changed their life by changing their mindset. Until the next time we meet, this is Gull Khan signing off. Take care and bye for now.